at TrevHat10 says, "You're living in the past, man. McKennie better than the entire midfield. Adams too. Dest over any outside back. So many current guys are better than a lot of these guys. Donovan wouldn't even be a starter on this U.S. men's national team."
I love the
what say
inflection.
you?
I am not living in the past. I'm actually living in reality. And I am living in the reality that has enabled me to define who these players are in totality, as opposed to many of the players that you just mentioned, who undoubtedly are good players, are talented players, and who knows, with time could be some of the best we've ever seen. We have not even seen the players that you're mentioning, whether it's McKennie or Dest or Adams or even Pulisic for that matter. We haven't even seen them play in one damn World Cup yet. Okay? And I know that isn't the definer of a player, but when it comes to all the other players that I've had, I have seen them. I have seen them play and play well at the highest level when it comes to the international game. Okay? And the pathways and the opportunities that this generation of player has are infinitely more available. And I guess much better paved and recognized than anything that certainly I had, but even Landon Donovan had. And I don't begrudge them. I think that's progress. I'm very proud of the fact that it's much easier for players at a young age to get quality training, to get into a system, to have good coaches, to have great facilities, to have great resources, to get paid more, to have a league to play in, to have opportunities that we just talked about where the rest of the world is scouting you. I love that exists. But that didn't exist, and not too long ago. And yet these players were still able to overcome whatever challenges that they have. And this isn't me, grumpy old man, and saying and calling them soft by any stretch of the imagination. This is me telling you the reality of what these players had to go in. And I love this. We do this all the time about compare and contrast. And it's fun. I get it. I love doing it too. Messi, okay, would be a great player in whatever era, because it's relative to the era that you are playing in. I would love to see what a Landon Donovan. I would love to see what a Tab Ramos. I'd love to see what a Bruce Murray or an Eric Eichmann. And most of you aren't going to know those names necessarily, but I'm just going back. If they had the opportunity, if they lived in a time where there was so much more available to you, and that's where my best 11 comes from. You're submitting to me that a guy like Dest or Adams or McKennie are better than players that we've had in the past. Based on what? That they're playing in Europe? That they're playing at big-time teams in Europe? Well, it's a very, very different time. And who's to say that all those players that we're talking about, if given the same opportunities, wouldn't be as good or better than some of these players? So that's where that comes from. But Trev Hat 10, I may indeed be living in the past. I don't know. And I hope that even in a few short months from now, when we see these players at that highest level at the World Cup, and then obviously 4 years from now in 2026, maybe in a few short months, or maybe in a few years from now, I will be doing my best 11. And I will look at these players individually, whether it's any of the players that you mentioned or anybody else, and I will say, you know what? It doesn't matter what era. This was a great player, and this is a player that deserves to be on my best 11 for what he, or if I'm doing the women's team, what she has done.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.